Okay, I guess I might start. So my name is Eschbacher. I'm from CartoDB. I'm here with my colleague Michelle. She's on the.
Well, so I'm here in case anyone is creating to help implement their how to use the software in our APIs. But Andy's going to give most of the talk today as an overview of everything.
And so I'll give our Twitter handles at the end if you guys like want to tweet at us like for mentoring, and you can find us or something like that. But yep, so I'm with CartoDB. We're kind of an online cloud-based database that does math visualizations. I'm a math scientist there, so I play around with math a lot. And do research on some of the backend stuff that we do. Then I do workshops like this and then travel a lot. And I made kind of a companion set of notes. If you guys want to go to here, it has a lot of the info about documentation, resources that you can use to learn some more software better, use cases, stuff like that. So if you guys want to go here, sort it out. I also sent out a tweet to the hashtag data today, data hack 2015. So I sent that out, and that's the same thing as that. Again, all right, so I just wanted to start out by showing some things that people have created just from the community. And can anybody guess what this one is? At all? So this is a map.
A cow movie?
Okay, believe it or not, it's Star Wars Galaxy. Somebody spent a lot of time. I'm actually not sure how they did it. I think they went in the CartoDB editor. You can go in and just kind of like put down points in places. But I'm guessing that maybe there's some like wiki pages somewhere that have like all of the coordinates and everything for all of the Star Wars things. But they put it. This is one of the weirder things that I've seen people make. And this is actually a beta version. They have so much more information now. They're constantly putting it in. And they needed more space, so they contacted us about wanting more space because they have so much information about stuff. Anyway, that's one of the dorkier versions things that people have done. This one's pretty cool. This is called Eric the Bird. So this is a bird. This is a seagull that has a GPS tracker on it. And what's really cool about it is this is a choropleth map. So a choropleth map is kind of like a histogram, but each bit of the histogram is assigned a different color. And what I really like about this one is it's a histogram, or it's a choropleth based off of time of year. And so you can see the green parts is like early June, the first couple weeks of June. You can see the behavior is really different for the first couple weeks of June versus like the last couple weeks of July. So I think this is a really awesome example of kind of like a very strange use case where you're actually visualizing time with color, and you can tell the behavior of the bird based off of that. So I have a couple more. So it's the same guy. This is Eric the Bird. It's visualized a little bit differently. And this one is two different types of birds, so you can see like how their areas overlap and don't overlap. And this one, so we have temporal maps. So we have maps that change in time, so they're kind of like spatial temporal, doing that sort of analysis. These are snowpows in Chicago. And you can see the time of the day here. And what I really like about this one is you can see like the main artery streets are plowed first. You can see as time goes on, a lot of the smaller streets are filled in.
Question.
Yeah.
The hard edges of those municipalities were someone else's responsibility.
Yeah, it's a good question. I don't know. So yeah, it might just be other municipalities.
Or the neighborhoods just like really neglected.
There could be something like that, yeah. Here's another one. This one is for Newark. They visualized it a little differently, so every truck has a different color. So this is a couple months ago, like November. So if you have a time series, data, you can easily visualize it in CartoDB. I'm going to show you a couple more examples of those. So, yeah. Do you have a question? I think I have a question. Okay. This is another one of my favorite ones. If you guys are familiar with the library Leaflet, it's an open source mapping library. CartoDB works on it. You can put your data layers on top of it. There's this plugin where you can have like the edge of the sun, like the day and night thing of the sun. And we have a we have a direct connection with the Twitter Firehose, and so you can import data. There's this guy named Simon Rogers that now works for Twitter. He does a lot of data analytics stuff based off of tweets. And you can see the edge of the sun and all of these people tweeting about sunrise. Isn't that amazing?
Each app on Twitter has one query.
So.
We use those bugs at sunrise. Track down on every day.
So pretty awesome, right? And then what's really cool is sometimes you can see like random islands you can't see from the zoom level, but you can see them. Okay, so that's another thing you can do. If you have some Twitter data, geolocated Twitter data, there's so much you can do with it. Here's another one. So these are, this was just a couple months ago too. This lady got GPS information about flights that were coming into the 3 major airports around New York City. And then she did some processing on the paths and made these really nice lines. I think she used QGIS, which is an open source Q library to analyze stuff like that. I don't know, it's pretty self-explanatory. She's just tracking flights. I guess she calls it flights over Queens because JFK and LaGuardia are Queens, but New York's not. Cool. And my boss made this one. This one is all of the streams and rivers and creeks and runs and everything like that in the United States. And he processed it so that each color represents one of the 4 cardinal directions. That's kind of the average direction that the body of water flows. So like north, south, east, or west. So you can use some geospatial functions to calculate that. So there's our database is PostgreSQL, and then there's an extension that allows you to do geospatial analysis on top of that. It's called Postgres. And so with Postgres, you're given these geometries like line strings and stuff like that, and you can find out like the average direction. So each of these is color coded. So it's a choropleth map again, a color code or a category map maybe. They're color coded according to the average direction of it. So what I like about this one is you can see like the general direction that the slope is flowing or something like that. It's kind of a different take on like terrain maps or something like that. Okay, I heard somebody mention something about Yelp earlier, so I thought that I would show this one that we did. So these are where tourists, this is Las Vegas, so these are where tourists are versus where locals are. And they're colored by those 2 colors over there. And you can see like the strip is very blue, and then other parts aren't. I don't know. So there's a lot you can do with just data visualization in CartoDB with georeferenced locations there. And then another one is dentists. I think this one's clinics. And yeah, some of these were looking for them in terms of like how far they are from other locations. I don't know too much about this one, unfortunately. Okay, this one's like a super heavy analytics one. It's looking for the safest path that you can take. That's kind of like a reasonable distance to go from one place to another. And it's safe by how many crashes there are along the way. So a lot of, so in the very first part of this one, let me go back and start it again. So in the very first part of this one, you can see the crashes that are happening along the way, and so that's used in the calculation of how to do it. This one's like a super data heavy one. And then using our SQL API, it actually pulls the information from the server, and you can make graphs and stuff like that that auto-populate depending on the 2 routes.
Is it showing a probability of crash or a number of crashes?
I think it's number of like historical crashes, like within the last time period. Okay, so those are just some examples. Do you guys have any questions on any of the examples we've seen so far? What I wanted to talk about next is if you guys have never used CartoDB before, you can just pretty much drag and drop, or you can import by URL. You can sync with data tables in Dropbox, Google Drive, or Twitter if you have an expensive account. And it's pretty easy to get up and going, so you can just drag it in. It auto-populates your data table. You can cast into different variables pretty easily if you're not used to SQL, and then you can visualize your data. So in just like 1 minute. You can change your base maps. We have some different options, a lot of different options for base maps. If you have your favorite base maps, you can just get the XYZ template for it. We have a lot of different visualizations you can choose as well. Cool. So that's like a 2-minute introduction to CartoDB.
Question.
Yeah.
Is there any 3D visualization?
We don't do 3D, no. Yeah. But you can combine it with some other JavaScript libraries to make it 3D. Yeah.
Sorry, I missed this. Does it only take from SQL, or can it be?
I'm sorry?
Can your data be in other forms other than SQL?
Like the data, well, so the data could be like CSV, like GeoJSON, shape files, like most major formats, like HTML files.
Okay.
You can import it in, but the data processing is in SQL.
Okay.
What's like the availability of this product? Is this like
Free accounts.
Is this free like student accounts or something?
Yeah. Well, it's free everybody accounts.
It's free everyone. Oh, that's
All
nice.
this Functionality is great.
That's amazing. Cool.
And then I'm going to give you guys better accounts too. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I'll show you an example. And then we have APIs. We have five APIs, but a lot of them are kind of like sub APIs, other things too. So we have a pretty robust JavaScript library that's pretty fun and easy to use. This is just a JS fiddle I took a screenshot of. The HTML is up here, JavaScript is here, and there's the CSS, and you can see the results now. So anything that you can do in the editor that we just saw, you can do in JavaScript. And we have so much functionality, you can mix it in with other libraries really easily. There's so much you can do. So this example, if you guys are used to the leaflet library, it's just creating a leaflet map and then just adding the data layer on top of it, just these 2 pieces of code. If you want to use Google Maps, we also connect with Google Maps API, so you can use that. So I showed this to you guys a minute ago. Those are our animated maps. You can also do the JavaScript animated maps, just like you saw in the editor there. Oh, so that's the SQL API. What's really cool about the SQL API is that it's just kind of like an HTML template. So you put your account name, and then you put the SQL that you want to run. It can be pretty much any SQL statement. So this is public, so you have total read access, but if you provide an API key, you can do read and write access to it as well. And then you can specify the formats if you want a CSV, if you want to give it as a JSON file, whatever you want with it. And in this example, I just wrote a blog post about this. We worked with Plotly to do some integrations. You can actually use Pandas to import your data using the SQL API, and you can do all of that like within Python. Or in this example, I'm using the IPython notebook to do the analysis of it. And you can also do this in R. So R has read.csv, and it works really well with just the same HTTP template. We have a Maps API. We actually just came out a couple months ago with the static Maps API, so you can actually export the images if you want. And on Valentine's Day, my colleague Aurelia she did a form where people put where their loved ones are and where they are. And she made customized Valentines for everybody. And so she connected the lines where people were, and I got them printed out on postcards. It's all using our Maps API. Yeah. Oh, and another thing, you can make, so all of the maps that we've talked about before, usually from public data. So it's really easy for you to share data, to fork it and play with it and do whatever you want with it. You can also make public maps out of private data. You can have your data kind of hidden, and you can interact. You can set which columns of your data table you want to come out, and which ones you don't, so that people can't scrape your data. We have our import API. I didn't know what image to put for this one. All of the other ones have better images, but you can send your data. You have a lot of data you can send to it. It just requires your API key, and then you can import it to the account created data table. Oh, right, and then sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, so we're on Postgres, SQL, pretty awesome SQL database. And then we're combined with Postgres, which is the geospatial extension to Postgres. And if you're not familiar with SQL or Postgres, here's just a basic command. It's kind of a canonical example. It's on Postgres' website. You want to find superhero, the name of the superhero, from two data tables, city and superhero, where superhero is within the city. So like a house, like you have a point within another shape, and you're saying that the city's name is Gotham, so it's going to be Batman. So you're talking Batman. So this is just a basic SQL statement, and the Postgres function right here is st underscore. And it's spatial analytics because you have two geometries and you're comparing them and seeing what relationships they have with each other. Another one, so a member of our team made a Dateescaper. It's a Chrome extension. It's pretty awesome. It's still kind of in beta though, so it has some quirks. But you can go to Wikipedia, any website that has a data table or has a table on it, you're going to get this little elephant, which is our little logo thing. And if you click on the elephant, it imports it into a table into your CartoDB account using the import API. So if you find some table on Wikipedia that would require a lot of data munging, he wrote this thing that does all the data munging for you and then imports it into your account, so it's a lot easier to analyze. So I recommend checking that out. And the link to this one is in that notes page that I mentioned before. Accounts, here you go. So accounts are free, but if you do the question mark _ equals academy, you're going to get 25 megabytes more space. And we're going to upgrade these pretty soon so you get even more space, and then you can just do data table syncing. We're not quite there yet. Cool. And if you guys already have accounts, send me an email and I'll bump you up. Just give me your username. And I can bump you up to one of these better accounts. So my email is kind of a tricky one, eschbacher@cartodb.com. And finally, thank you. And if you have questions and can't find either of us, here are our Twitter handles. We're here to help. We love maps. Yeah, that's it. Do you guys have any questions to wrap things up?
So could you kind of treat this as like a graph problem and do like edges and nodes, like your?
Yeah, so you can do, so you can have like an edge table and a node table, and then you can use SQL to do stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And there's actually, Postgres has a topology functionality where you can do stuff like that too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you go back one slide? Thank you.
And do you guys want the link to the notes? I think the notes have a lot more information than what I mentioned too, so.
Yeah.
Just 1 second.
So the notes are on Data Science Hackathon.info. If you look at the CartoDB Tech Talk, there's a link to the notes.
Oh, but there's better notes.
Oh, okay.
Better notes.
Are any of you guys in groups that are going to be doing any these months? Cool. What are you guys doing?
Actually, what you were talking about in Melbourne, the safe
Yeah.
thing is kind of similar to what we're doing, except we're doing it for like pedestrians to get home safely within the city using New York City crime data.
Awesome.
Yeah. So we're gonna check out the Melbourne project and see how they tackle that.
Any other groups?
We might be doing something with cancer data and mapping it to other environmental factors.
Cool.
Also, we have t-shirts if you guys want a t-shirt.
And stickers.
Let's get a t-shirt.
We'll be here for a little while if any of you guys have more specific questions or any comments.
I don't like the idea. It doesn't use math.